I think they were intentional in making Ravanavar a palindrome because his intentions are kind of two-faced or something.
Ooh, deep and like there's context.
You see, you get what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
They tried, but they never got further than, oh, we're so clever, we made his name a palindrome.
Yeah, palindrome.
That's it.
Well, yeah. No, it's like if you look closely, you'll find extra layers.
Yes,
Palindrome.
if you read his name backwards, it's race car.
Yeah, and this is onomatopoeia because we named him Buzz. And he's a bee.
Hell yeah, bonuses for everyone.
You've been schooled. Yeah. It's hard. I'm glad you found that because that is actually kind of cool, but quite easily missed.
Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of everyone's favorite podcast, the Critical Arcade Podcast. I'm your co-host, Nick.
And I'm Dave.
Hello, Dave.
Nick, are you well?
I'm well, thank you. Dave, how much do you know about Hinduism?
Oh, well, now you ask. I just so happen to know nothing about Hinduism. Oh, very good.
I just so happen to be...
I'd have loved to lay down some just weird, crazy Hinduism facts.
Ooh,
and you'd be like,
wouldn't
wow,
it be... I don't know anything about Hinduism, so I don't want to offend anyone.
But I'd love the idea of like, wow, Dave really knows a lot. I just didn't know this was going to go that way.
Dave seemed to be... Wow, culturally intelligent. Good Dave.
Strangely enough, I know that Final Fantasy, some of the characters and the gods and stuff they talk about, some of those have got Hinduism
well, that makes sense.
That's
of
about
course.
it.
I mean, Shiva has been in all the Final Fantasies.
Yeah, exactly. See? So yeah, that's about it. That's about as far as the depth of my knowledge
I
goes.
say that, and I don't even know if Shiva is part of the...
Oh, it's confusing because
the
I think
Hinduism pantheon. I don't know.
I think Shiva is in a couple of them. I don't know which religions, but I think she or he is in more than one. I get very confused.
I would like to know more, but that just feels so overwhelming.
Oh, Eastern, it is.
Eastern mythology.
Yeah, agreed. Like even what was that anime you watched? Record of Ragnarok.
Hell yeah,
Like,
Record of Ragnarok.
Even I got lost with some of the gods that they kept bringing up. I'm like, is that Greek? Is that Norse? Like, they're the ones everyone kind of knows. I know it's kind of mean, but that religiously, that's like most people know those ones because they're in mainstream.
Well, of course. I mean, it has Buddha. I don't know which pantheon Buddha's in.
Yeah, I know. I got so.
I'm supposed to know. I
wonder
don't.
how badass. So yeah, it's the same with the gods. They get very confusing and stuff like that. Why do you ask, Nick? Why do you ask?
Because it seems to be a large part of this week's... Not seems to be. It is a large part of this week's game. And before we get into it a bit more, how would you tell us, what did we play for this week, Dave?
Well, this week's game is... Again, is this would be defined of indie, right? Is this an indie game?
Yes, this is definitely indie, which means it's a part of our Indie 500.
Yeah. Did you, strangely enough, weird tangent now. Did you ever watch the cartoon on Cartoon Network called Kim Possible or something like that? Did you?
What do you mean? Of course I did, and I think that was Disney Channel.
Oh, was it really? Okay, I can't. You know where it goes, and it goes like Kim Possible. That's every time I now read the name of this game, Indivisible. In my head, it goes Indivisible.
Oh, wow.
I don't know why. It's how my brain is wired. It's got just trappings of like 80s, 90s or 2000 cartoons and it just overlays with everything I do now.
That makes sense.
But by all accounts, this game
I don't
is
read
Indivisible
as catchy as the Kim Possible jingle.
Well, that's what I mean. If that was there as a catchy jingle. Yeah, today's game is Indivisible. It was published by 505 Games, which I know I've heard of that company before. They've done a good few games, right?
They've done a couple, and they're also publishing. I think it's Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. Later this year.
That's cool.
Yes,
that's one that's on our radar, right?
But yes, it is for next month.
My favorite part of this was just looking at the other one, Lab Zero Games. Did you do any dive into Lab Zero Games?
I did, and I saw their other game.
Yeah, Skullgirls, right?
Skullgirls. I've always wanted to play it. Skullgirls.
That's like a 2D fighter, right? Not really my type of thing, but yeah, right.
Which is a genre that scares me.
Oh, fighting games are too hard now. Bring me back to Tekken and Soul Calibur and
Yeah.
what's the other one? Street Fighter. Okay, but let me just. I love this story so much because it's so much like a fairy tale that ends horribly. Because no, it is.
Okay.
You got
Like most grim fairy
games,
tales.
Yeah, Skullgirls does well. People get it. Gets a nice fandom going. People are excited by the studio.
Yep.
The studio then wants to start a new IP and launches a crowdfunding aspect where they need $1.5 million to make this new game.
Yes, and they did launch it on Indiegogo.
Yeah, exactly. And they did that great thing where they raised some money and then they released like a little prototype demo for people to play to see that it's real and that you should fund it. And so people started funding it. And then they got a bit sluggish and didn't quite hit their 1.5. And then the beautiful people at 505 Games says, if you exceed like this goal of 900,000, we'll give you the rest of the money to make this game a reality. And they did, and then 505 comes in and gives them the money, and everything's great. And it's going so well. Even at one point, Peacock, the streaming service, was going to make an animated adaptation of this game for TV for kids to watch. So
I did not know.
This is big stuff. Until, and this is just the understanding, granted this isn't unheard of, until a hostile work environment starts coming into play, where the majority stakeholder, I believe, Mike Z, regularly just sent in inappropriate sexual remarks, did racist jokes, was abusive toward the staff. Then Lab Zero Games investigated it by the board, right? And they found threats, harassment, lying down, emails, just all that horrible stuff you hear that happens in the industry, and they found evidence of it, like full-blown, paper trail. It's happening, right? This is horrible. Shouldn't happen, but it was happening. And then what happens next is insane. So, after getting all the evidence coming forwards, they say, Mike Z, we're asking for your resignation so that the company can continue going forwards.
That's how it usually goes.
Right? And then he just out and out refuses, stringently says no, and then he says, but unless you do this. And then supposedly, sadly you don't get to know this, he just asked for some unrealistically high and just potentially illegal stuff for him to resign. So, and then this is great. So the board says, no, we can't do that. What you're asking for is insane.
Yes, that's unreasonable. Please go now.
Yeah, let's go back to the beginning. And his response, this Mike said, I'm guessing it's because he's the majority shareholder or something, he dissolves the entire board. So board members gone. Makes himself
out of spite.
Makes himself the sole owner. Don't particularly know how that works. And then issued an ultimatum where staff could either resign or stay under his leadership. Now, as you can imagine, obviously his leadership and stuff wasn't regarded that highly in the office.
No,
so
of course. Who is this man?
The lead designer, the art director, the lead programmer, they all leave because they're not doing this.
Of course.
And then so he decides so he's lost all his best people to resignation. He's got a crew of just like some people who need their money, need their job. So he decides to fire everyone, give them no severance, and he will be the sole employee of Lab Zero Games. So there was a period of time where he was the only person in at the office. I just picture him sat alone with one of those big banners like at the reception desk where it tells you your studio. And that's what he chose. He chose the absolute destruction of the studio that he helped design and must have put a lot of effort and money and collateral and stuff into. He chose that option.
Chose is the perfect word. This is so avoidable.
It's insane.
This was incredibly avoidable.
So
this man is insane. Who put him in charge?
It's so weird because by all accounts, even asking for his resignation, that was from lead. He'd still have been on the board. He'd have still been a shareholder. He could have still potentially made a fair, decent amount of money from the Skullgirls franchise and maybe this game if it picked up. As long as his name was just taken off the main gist of it, he would have still... But no, he decided to just burn it all in just the dumbest way possible.
That is petty and spiteful.
Yeah, it's crazy to think there's grown-ups that just thought, no. Everybody loses. Sod everyone, sod the fans, sod the people.
If I'm going down, I am taking you with me. He said to 200 people. 200
that's what I mean.
Innocent people who are working for a paycheck and creating just... Oh...
You could just see him going, wah,
selfish,
and just
petty, spiteful. Yes, throwing an absolute tantrum and all of his toys out of the baby cot because he's asked to leave because he's doing a bad job. Whoa, it's crazy. Really don't like this man.
It's crazy that these humans adults exist out there. But so yes, sadly, a studio that was actually doing fairly decent for itself, got some good IPs, could it be still going today? Sadly, died, and it lost any incentivization, it lost the Peacock thing, it lost any future. There was going to be collaborations with regards to the Skullgirls and like other games, other 2D fighters and stuff like that. All, of course, got dropped because the business got dissolved and just liquidated.
Who owns the IP of Skullgirls and Indivisible? Do we know?
That's a good question.
Who owns that intellectual property?
I think I read somewhere that that's still going, or is potentially making a comeback at some point.
Where?
It was, I don't know why, but I think I did read the IP is still quite popular. He must own it to some degree, unless he sold it as part of the liquidation process, which it could be. I don't actually know. I didn't go that deep. But I just thought this big child, such a big tantrum
that's a man baby.
It's just a crazy story to read.
That's an adult toddler.
It really is. It really is. Anyway, so by all accounts, that's just Indivisible.
That's disgusting. That's a horrible story. Thank you, Dave, for telling us.
So that's basically as a whole, the game as a whole. It actually did quite well as a game. When it first came out, it did all right. Out of curiosity, did you hear of this game when it came out? Did this hit your radar? Because I'd never heard of it.
When it came out, no. Yeah. But in the years between then and now, I've heard of it a couple of times. And I've seen it a couple of times. And I know it's shtick.
Yeah.
I know what this game's... Excuse me. I know what its claim to fame is. Which has made me interested in it. But... I mean, in 2019, no, I didn't know of this game.
No, nor did I. But again, games release all the time. It's very hard to actually keep a track of all of them. And it's always nice to see something out of nowhere come up as well. So that, but this game, again, review-wise and reception-wise, did quite well until it didn't. And
glad. I'm happy. This game feels...
that hung over it.
It just... I'm trying to separate the art from the artist in this case.
Yes.
Even if it's just it's one toddler from Lab Zero and not all the other dozens of people that worked on this.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at this game and just the game, I'm glad. I could very clearly see why it got these favorable reviews, why it got high scores. It makes complete sense, right? I wouldn't necessarily call this a 9 out of 10 or maybe even an 8 out of 10, but it's very clear why a game like this did well enough.
It's like that guy who did that game, what's it called? Fez? That weird 2D, 3D puzzle platformer game?
I think, yes.
He's the owner of that game is supposed to be such a really horrible human being.
Oh, come on.
It's so hard for me to pick up that game and play it. Because it's again very well received, 9s across the board, very clever premise.
Yes. A talented person clearly made it because there's no engine available that could do what Fez wanted to do. Like he had to make his own engine.
But it's very hard to take away the human, like you said, to try and take each part and
to separate the art from the artist.
Yeah, it is a difficult thing to do.
Anyway, we need to get into the segments, the narrative. Yes. Oof. You know what? The Indivisible, I think, was marketed as an RPG, maybe even a JRPG, and in that case, the setup is
Yeah,
Goodness,
okay,
it's as cliche as they come.
It is. It is a cliche, even by my perspective, to the point, kind of boring. Like,
Yeah,
did you?
Boring.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Boring, yes.
I'll tell you one thing. What's quite hard for me. You know, I'm not a person for names that well.
Yeah.
Right. I don't follow names that well. This game, I had no chance.
Yeah.
I had no chance. I give you that the names are all foreign and that's a bit more complicated to follow. But I couldn't even tell you what the main girlie is called. Anya? Ajna?
No, Ajna.
Ajna.
Ajna. I did a bit of research. I think this game was supposed to be set in some Eastern Indian.
Yeah, because it has that vibe by a lot of
province, yes, because it's very clearly influenced by India. It's Hinduism is a very large part of this game, which I think is an underrepresented culture, especially in video games.
Yeah,
I like it a lot, but that unfortunately we get some names that we don't entirely recognize because we're so used to Western names like Ajna.
Yeah. It is a bit unfair. Go on. Yeah.
We have Dar.
Yeah, that one I remembered.
Razmi.
Yeah, that's right. The little tiger girl. Tiger girl's her name to me.
The one I found very cute. Ginseng and Honey.
Yeah, that's cool. I did like that one too because again, I recognized it.
Some others.
Zebai. Did you see any of the bosses' names? I was like. No, I struggle remembering like Radan and Melania. Some of the bad guys in this, I was like, "Whoa, those are just." I'm not trying to be mean.
Have you got some there?
I haven't because I'll give you. I was getting self-conscious that I pronounced them wrong because it was.
Okay.
I read the names in
completely,
game.
Absolutely,
thinking,
no, I get it.
That?
I get it. Yes.
Which isn't important by all accounts, but I just felt like I don't remember the main characters. I couldn't hugely follow the other people in it, and I'm like, God, I can't even pronounce the bad guys, the boss fight names. What's going on? So I just went, as I normally do, Tiger Girl, guy with sword, archer dude.
There we classic Dave. Classic
right?
Dave.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's how I get
Archer knows.
Archer knows. Yeah, that works.
Yes. Well endowed frost lady.
True. How come I didn't think of that one? Well-endowed Frost Lady. I should have called her that. She was just Frost Lady. How did I forget about the well-endowedness? But like you said, the beginning of this game is kind of cliche.
Yes, kind of
strong teenager.
Maybe completely cliche.
Yeah. Gets attacked. Father kind of gets hurt and
village get destroyed,
unalived, as they say, and then
and who is it? Oh, it's the military, of course.
Right. And then she vows revenge.
You know what?
And on a journey.
Is it boring because it's been done loads of times? Is that the only reason?
It's so hard because we've been playing games for years and years and years, right? So we have seen it a lot. But if you were young, you haven't got that same view set that, this isn't that common. I've only played this. It's hard not to have that garner your opinion on things a bit because, again, like you said, I've played a lot of Japanese RPGs, and this is like the default beginning. That and Amnesia, right?
Yes.
Amnesia or this is the default
Absolutely.
beginning.
I'd even take it a step further. And say this game, its two biggest moments are almost stolen's not the right word, copied from Final Fantasy VI and Final Fantasy VII.
Okay, I can get the 6. Where am I going with 7?
I don't want to spoil it.
I know, I'm about to say, and so many people who... That's true. That's a bit mean.
I don't want to spoil it because I do think people should give this game a go.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
I think you should at least try this game. If it's not for you, that's fine.
It does deserve a go. You're right.
Yeah, it does deserve a go. I don't want to spoil it.
And the story kind of gets better later on. It's got it's that normal cliched revenge. I travel around getting more powerful, getting more friends, and so
I need to find the 3
That's right. Yeah, they're anythings, jewels, crystals, souls.
Ooh, what's the narrative word? There's a specific narrative word for the most powerful all-time nothing.
But I'll give this story, it kind of then does deal with, she kind of gets, like most games, Japanese RPGs, you kind of slowly develop into a godlike power, and then she kind of has a moral break, I suppose, in regards to where her power comes from and what she should do with it, which is a fun adult type of storytelling mechanic to some degree, but it is hours and hours and hours into playing the game, where it's just collecting crystals and friends and the power of friendship.
Is
and all
this
the other.
game? It's longer than I thought.
It really is for an indie game. Holy crap!
I thought it was gonna be not necessarily short, but it's gonna be on the.
Same.
You could do it in a week or two.
Oh, I thought so too.
It's a big tad longer than that.
Yeah, I'm still collecting companions and just unlocked the bow, and there's supposed to be spears and all sorts of other things. Like, well, geez, this is actually a meaty game. There's no doubt. I was shocked by that too. But the story, it's hard
because it's not meaty because of the story or the gameplay. It's just long. At
any point, granted, about 2, 3, 4 hours in, I was like, if it's not voice acted, I'm not reading it, because it's like, oh yeah, talk about this and go talk about this and ginseng and honey, they're looking for things, and okay, let me get you those things, and
so so you skipped dialogue. I
skimmed dialogue. I don't really ever skip.
Okay. Wow, that's interesting. Other than
I don't like skipping.
I see. I get what you mean. Kind of speed read.
Yeah, exactly.
The story's fine. I don't know. I can do without the story. We've all experienced the story. But by far my favorite part of the narrative was the dialogue. So it's interesting to hear that you kind of just skimmed it.
It could be because this game was longer than I thought, and I wanted to get into the meat and potatoes like quicker, because I needed more than just young girl, father dies and then must get stronger. I think I need more to this. I must continue, and it does get
there is more to it. You're right, but
I didn't really chat to all the incarnations in your head in the head realm and the people you get to somewhat talk to along the way to some degree. I skimmed it, but I was trying, for the review, I was trying to get what's going on here. Give me some more meat and potatoes, because I'm just a young girl who lost her family and wants to get stronger and gets revenge, and the young, good-looking bad guy that's stuck in my head is slowly realizing he might be on the wrong side. And again, that's kind of, I know it's weird to say because that sounds interesting. That is slightly cliched in the JRPG world. That's stuff I've already seen.
I think they tried. They tried, but I mean, it was nothing. Lord Ravanavar is a.
Is that the bad guy?
Yes, that's the first bad guy, and I think that's a palindrome.
Oh, is it really? I like a palindrome. That sounds right. Yeah, I didn't even notice that. It would have been on the screen and the little the name bar, and I would have went, okay, yeah, bad guy.
I think they were intentional in making Ravanavar a palindrome because his intentions are kind of two-faced or something.
Ooh, deep, and like there's context.
You see, you get what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
They tried, but they never got further than, we're so clever, we made his name a palindrome.
Palindrome.
That's it.
Well, yeah. No, it's like if you look closely, you'll find extra layers.
Yes, if you read his name backwards, it's race car.
Yeah, and this is onomatopoeia because we named him Buzz. And
hell yeah, bonuses for everyone.
You've been schooled. Yeah. It's hard. I'm glad you found that, because that is actually kind of cool, but quite easily missed in regards to all the names.
And I mean, it doesn't go further than that.
No, exactly. Yeah, that's true. You potentially found the one really clever bit. Maybe I'm being a bit mean, but
we did it, Dave. Yes.
Okay, but one thing this game did, narrative could be a bit cliched, could be a redone.
Dialogue is fun. That's my point, and yes.
I do love that the internet, everybody kind of got really annoyed with our Ajna, but absolutely fell in love with Tiger Lady girl.
Razmi.
Yeah, people loved her character because of her personality and kind of like
for good reason. For good reason. Once she was in, I thought, oh, and the dialogue got spiced up. I thought, hell yeah.
She's kooky and got personality and all sorts of things you want for your main character, but she's just the side character. But yeah, she was fun. I did like her. She was on my team for quite a long time.
You know what? That is the perfect word. I wrote it down here. Fun. F-U-N. It's just fun. Okay, this is one of those games where I could quite easily turn my brain off, have some fun, and just enjoy the ride without thinking too much. And
that's true.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, very true.
Right? It just felt like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, that's right. It did actually have you're absolutely right. It had a Saturday morning cartoon vibe to the whole game. That's very true. I was thinking that while I was playing it. I didn't note that down, but you're right.
I think on this show, we can appreciate the art form that is video games. But I mean, we could also appreciate when something's just fun and lighthearted and looks colorful and bouncy. And it's not too deep, right? It doesn't need to be unpredictable. We don't need The Last of Us everywhere. We can have some... We can have some Ed, Edd and Eddy, Dexter's Lab.
Exactly right. Worms is my favorite example of a game that...
Exactly.
It's just fun to play,
exactly.
Right? It's nothing but a good time.
Yeah, there's space for that, but I would like these games to be made earnestly, which it felt like this one was, besides for this arsehole of a...
No. Okay, so if the narrative's a bit up and down, what did you think of visuals then?
The visuals... Come on. If anyone knows anything about this game, they know that this is the main selling point. Right?
Yeah, they know that. Yeah, no doubt.
I think when Indivisible's claim to fame is that all of the 2D visuals, all of the 2D sprites are hand-drawn. Every single one of them. You've got some 3D artifacts everywhere. I mean, the levels are 3D. But if anything's 2D, like all of the characters, all of the sprites, a majority of everything on screen, it's hand-drawn.
And it's funny how, as I've gotten older, I'm sure it's the case for you, you kind of enjoy it more. As a kid, you think, where's my shiny graphics? Where's my posh cars? Where's my, hyper realism, right? But going back, and like you said, it was exactly what you said. It's the early morning cartoons, because they were, of course, hand drawn back in the day. It's got that same nostalgic just feel, and it is, like you said, really pretty, and it's so nice to think people are still, well, granted this game's relatively old, drawing things by hand. It's got that old Disney feel to it, or Ed, Edd and Eddy.
It's an art form. Even the biggest companies, like Disney, they've completely just, like, it feels like they've abandoned it. Yeah. Ever since The Princess and the Frog, there's been none. And before that, what was the last one? Mulan?
Oh, I have no idea, I'm afraid.
I don't know either. Even they've Disney dropped 2D animation. It's beautiful. It's timeless. Indivisible is going to look great 30 years from now.
Yeah, and it's just something nice to know that someone, I know it sounds very anti-AI and stuff like that, someone hand drew that. There's someone in a studio with a palette and their tablet and stuff, and they designed the little spider, or the ginseng with her backpack and a big petal
or Razmi and her
like
tiger.
That. Yeah, exactly. There
is value in that. And I think you're right. As I've gotten older, I've definitely started seeing the value in things like that.
Yeah, agreed.
Things that aren't just skin deep.
Yeah, it's one of those beautiful things like, what's it called? Undertale. Is it Undertale? Is that what you call it?
I think so.
Really... the really 6-bit, 16-bit
RPG
that adventure,
like 16, that 8-bit,
which is so far from good graphics
with sands and
like
papyrus. That's Undertale.
And and just being able to for people to acknowledge that game in regards to it as a whole, in regards to the visually, it's just skeletons and a few dots, and I think most people, because gamers are getting older, I think people can appreciate that side of things more nowadays than they did in the past. And this is just a good example of it. It is just very pretty. It is very nostalgic. Makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside each time you go to a new area or meet a new person. It's just pretty.
There's really not much critique that we can give the visuals. It's truly some of the best I've seen. The only thing, not only just an indie game, but you're right. There's a lot of care put into this. Sorry, you were going to say.
The only thing I didn't like, now this is just me, this is one of those get good statements fundamentally, but you know, during the combat, this is kind of gameplay-esque. You know, during the combat, you'd get these lines telling you which bad guy is going to attack which bad guy.
Yeah.
Right? When that's like 1-on-1 or 3-on-3, that's kind of simple, but I thought when there was a bunch of people, I could not follow whose line was going where. I know it's a weird visual thing. I was thinking, where was that an all-out attack? Was that going to the bottom one or the middle one? And then another one's going for the top one. And I'm like, ugh. Granted, that is definitely a get good type of problem, but it did frustrate me because I kept pressing the wrong buttons.
No, those lines confused me as well. Once I figured, no matter if they attack one person, I could just block with everyone.
Did you just block with everyone every single time?
I just did the full party block, even if one person got attacked. Full party block, whatever, no one got hurt.
Yeah, that's one way of doing it, I suppose. But yeah, apart from, like you said, the art, the character design's so great. Some of the boss designs were okay. Yeah. Some of them were a bit just repetitive. Just a big shield. Yeah, it was. Some of them were. It's the artwork is what keeps you staying here. I'd say
definitely
in regards to narrative and gameplay.
It's colourful and bouncy and extremely likable all the way through.
And we got caves and jungles and like Aztec ruins and Aztec towns and townscapes.
That's nice. I like the combat. I really like the exploration. But this is gameplay. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's hard to put into words. It's like it's got those. Remember Ori and the Blind Forest? That's an extra level to this, and that's a bit better. But it does have that same. You look forward to the next bit, the next level or the next scene. But even the animations in regards to chucking your axe into the earth to help climb up further, and just some of the little clever ideas in regards to the blocking and the shooting and the dodging and stuff like that. They're kind of very inventive visually instead of just the normal like block with your arm or just miss type thing.
Yeah,
there is a lot there. They were very charming.
Creative in making all of this. Absolutely. No, I think Dar has some kind of control over stone tablets or something, because when he attacks, he attacks with stone tablets. When he blocks, it's not just a block. He summons a stone tablet from the ground and blocks with that. That's creative.
It's basically Avatar, right? The Airbender. One's waterbender,
like that.
earthbender, firebender.
Which, if you remember, is a Saturday morning cartoon.
Exactly. And I think also rooted in...
you're right. Eastern mythology.
Yeah, right? It is, right?
Ooh. Oh, come on. This game is slept on, I think.
No, it makes me sad because I was expecting you to say, yeah, you heard of it when it came out, because it had a great story. The fund got crowdfunded, and later on I go into audio, which also shocked me. Like, this game's got so much clout.
That is shocking. I cannot believe someone would behave like that in a professional environment.
It's anything else visually you wanted to know? Go on.
That animated opening.
Oh yes, yeah, like the anime
Holy
type
crap.
Animated opening. Yeah, that's right.
That was made by an animation studio. I think Trigger is their name.
Why does that name
incredible.
sound familiar to me?
If I watched that would make me want to watch the entire anime on Peacock.
Oh no, agreed. I'm guessing that's why Peacock was so interested, because I'm sure
because they saw that, isn't it? I mean, and it's done really well. It's animated really good. The music fits. You can see all the characters. You can see kind of their journey, all the places they've been. Moments they have. It's good. That's a great animated opening, and it feels like a real anime.
Oh no, agreed. No, it does have that same. Again, like I said, I'm an otaku. I agreed. It has got that really. I knew it. You said Indivisible, right? And then you said Trigger, right?
Yes.
Trigger's a big animation studio now, or has been for a really long time.
Really?
They did Delicious in Dungeon. Netflix.
Oh, wow.
You may have seen on Netflix. They also did. You probably don't know these things that well, but A Little Witch Academia, Darling in the Franxx, Kill la Kill, kind of prolific anime that most people do know.
No way.
So they're actually a really big animation studio now.
That's great. Oh, well, it makes complete sense because this intro is very anime coded and very well done. If you're not going to play this game, I'm talking to you, the listener. If you're not going to play Indivisible, which is fine, that's fine, not your jam, at least watch the Indivisible opening on YouTube. It's just 2 minutes, but it's going to fire you up. It's good.
Do you picture when you say I'm talking to you, listener, that they all stop? Like they put their pen down or they stop vacuuming and saying, whoa,
yes.
Nick's talking
and
to me.
they stop in the middle of traffic.
Yeah.
They kind of put their fingers
exactly.
to their ear and look concerned to the ground. Whoa, Nick is talking to me.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
talking directly to me.
Stop meetings and everything like that. And then they're just like, yeah, that's right. I'll go watch it. Nick was talking to me and he said I had to go watch it. So I'm going to do that now. That's how my mind sees it. Everybody just goes, wait, shh. Sorry, say that again, Nick. And they're like, oh, I've got to go watch it, Nick says. So, by all means, he was talking to you, ladies and gents. You know what you need to do. Anything else visually you want to talk about?
No, I think we can move on to audio.
Okay, now, this is generally your side of things, Mr. Audio Man. Yeah. So what did you think of the audio in this one?
I think while the soundtrack is great, and I enjoyed most of it, it's very clearly all MIDI based, and I've never really been a fan.
Is that, do you think, is on purpose to like add to the type of game
it's
it is?
Not
like the Metroidvania type side of things?
No. I don't think making it this is like a decision they make to get a certain look and feel. It's affordable.
Oh, you think it's a cost-cutting practice, so to speak?
I wouldn't even call it cost-cutting. It's just either you settle for a MIDI-based soundtrack, which is fine in most cases, including indie games, or you spend millions and hire an orchestra and a choir.
Well, this had a budget of 1.5 million, and in the long run, that's not really that much money when you start taking wages and stuff out of it, right?
To create a video game and pay a studio, that really isn't a lot of money. So I'm not surprised that they didn't hire an orchestra and a choir. I'm not surprised this is MIDI based. It's affordable and it is actually completely fine. I'm just elitist.
That's fair enough. At least you admitting it's the first step to fixing that problem. But you do know who composed the soundtrack to this, right?
I do. It's Hiroki Kikuta.
Well done for not doing the Japanese accent on that one. I was fully expecting
I committed at the start.
You did. I was waiting.
To not be offensive towards Eastern cultures, and I'm going to stick to that. So
I love the idea. Now you've said that, like, people are going to go through our past, like, podcast episodes and say, how racist was he to Eastern cultures? Like,
why is he making a conscious effort now?
Yeah, like, it does beg the question, what was he like beforehand? Jeez. But yeah, and of course, I'm going to, like, Hiroki Kikuta, he did the soundtrack for the Secret of Mana franchise.
Yes!
Which is kind of an old, it's been redone and kind of, like, repatched.
Now it's been 30 years since those games.
That's
then
true.
It was 25 years ago. Have you seen pictures of this man?
I haven't. Does he age? Because they often don't age.
No, he's one of those Japanese men who do not age. He's got this slick hairstyle that I don't get it. I do not get it.
It's all sushi and soy sauce or something like that. I don't know why, but so many of them just don't seem to age. I'm very envious of them.
They need to tell us. They won't. They need to tell us their secrets.
And he's relatively prolific, but now you're saying things are in MIDI. In theory, it's what he's used to in regards to the Secret of Mana franchise that was originally on like the SNES and like the Nintendo DS or something like that. It's quite an old maybe
is a
that's
good
his
point.
forte. Yeah,
Maybe
that's his thing.
Good point. Yeah.
Another thing I could not get. This has got a $1.5 million budget. Did you see the voice actors for it?
I recognized the voice actors for this.
As an anime person, the voice actors. I know this was a good few years ago, so they weren't probably as prolific then as they are now. But some of them really were quite prolific.
Yes,
or are
yes,
quite,
and still are. The one I instantly recognized, and I think most people did.
Is it alliteration? Is the name alliteration?
No. Yes, yes, it is. It is alliteration.
Yes, it is. I knew you'd choose this guy.
Of course, it's Matt Mercer.
Yeah, Matt Mercer coming in again with his.
I
didn't
think most
know
people
would.
He can't be cheap.
I did not know he would. And this is my own ignorance. I knew he had Critical Role, and I knew he was in a few things. I looked him up in this regard. He's in so many things.
Yes, he does.
Mountains of
He's
things.
just after Troy Baker as one of the most prolific voice actors.
I didn't know that, but yeah, I think you're exactly right. Ladies and gents, in this game, he plays the archer Zebay. Again, I'm going to butcher his name.
I think Zebay is
and that's Matthew Mercer. And I was just looking. He's Levi. I didn't know he was Levi in Attack on Titan. He's Trafalgar Law in One Piece, which is kind of a prolific character. He's McCready in both Fallout 4 and 3 because he pops up. And the list just goes just massively on and on and on and on. I was like, whoa.
He's McCree in Overwatch.
Ah, yes, of course. Sorry, that was one of the ones on there. But
I don't think that's his name anymore.
How much does How much does it cost to get a voice actor of that level? It can't be cheap.
I don't know. It cannot be.
Not just that. The lead girl's father, the monk. So I know the father, played by Keith Silverstein, who in Overwatch is, I'm going to get this wrong, Torbjorn?
Almost Torbjorn.
Oh, wow. Torbjorn.
He's Swedish.
He sounds it as soon as you said that. And
yes,
this is one you don't know. Hunter x Hunter, a very well-regarded anime, he plays Hisoka, which is pretty much the main bad guy in the whole series, which I didn't know.
It's so funny.
Go on.
Dar.
Dar has been played by Ben Diskin, who plays Sai in Naruto, and Joseph Joestar in
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Thank you. I was thinking, is it Joseph Joestar's Bizarre Adventure? Is it Joestar? But you're right, JoJo. Sorry, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Prolific role by all accounts. Go on.
I've got one.
Go on.
The main antagonist for the game. I can't remember her name. Is it Carla?
Yes.
Is also a voice actress that was in the original Overwatch.
Played who? Out of curiosity.
Symmetra, the only native Indian.
Yes, I actually know that one. I don't play Overwatch, but I do know that one, and I do know the voice because I played that game, and it kind of stands out, her voice in that game, I think.
These are all prolific voice actors. I don't know if you had more.
It still goes. Tiger Girl, or Razmi, is Stephanie Se, who plays Hinata in Naruto, Naruto's girlfriend at some point. Also, Orihime from Bleach, which I know you know that one.
Yeah.
Ginseng, the botanist, is Cassandra Lee Morris, who plays Morgana in Persona 5. And Nami in League of Legends, if you play League of Legends. That's not my type of thing. But the VA cast here is, I don't know, 200k? I don't know how...
You're right. One of their stretch goals was full VA for the entire story. So they had an entire stretch budget just to spend on voice acting.
That's what I mean. And they really did. But maybe I'm ignorant and they all just get like 5k for a game. I just don't see that being true.
I don't know. But I hope they get more.
It's got quite a prolific list of voice actors. And the voice actors were quite good in the game. I thought it was done quite well. How would it not be done quite well with so many like industry stars, so to speak?
All of it's really done well. The soundtrack was made well, although I'm not a big fan of MIDI. The voice actor cast was stellar. Even the sound design was fine. I just had one gripe with the sound design.
Yeah. Anything else audio-wise? Because
Yes, my
it's
single
definitely your
gripe
expertise.
with
Go on,
the
hit me
sound
with it.
design. Why? Please, Dave, can you tell me? I need to know why on earth, when you save a game,
Yeah.
is the bell chime and the ohm sound so unnecessarily loud? Why?
It's
I need to know who
the funny
made this choice.
The funny thing, ladies and gents, you may or may not know this about me. I'm actually deaf in one ear, so I didn't have this problem so much. It wasn't particularly loud for me. Was it really? Okay, was it levels wise just insanely
it's
loud?
obnoxiously loud. I'd run around the level. Oh, have a good time. Oh, listen to some dialogue. Oh, that's funny, Ajna. And then I'd save. Dong!
I know the bits when you go save.
Oh, come on.
Maybe it realigns your chakra in real life or something like that. It hits you on a spiritual level.
Fine. My chakra's fine. Loud bell, please.
I didn't notice, but that's probably a me issue more than anything else. It is strange though. They would have amped that noise up over all the other noises in the game.
With such care put into the sound of this game, you'd think there'd be a designer to get this right.
I just love the idea they made this whole game and someone just put the ohm noise in and just didn't reduce the slider or whatever it is when you put in these games, and they were like, oh shit, it's in there now, just keep it at 100% solid.
Or this could be the CEO, this douchebag. The only thing he knew how to do was adjust the volume for the save
volume
sound.
Control. I like that narrative. That was his input to the game as a whole.
It's his fault. I can blame him, whoever he is.
Let's do it. I'm down for it. He sounds like a guy that should be a scapegoat. I like it. Anything else audio-wise?
No, that's it. That's it. We can move on to gameplay.
Okay, gameplay. Oh, you never played a game called Valkyrie Profile, have you? Really kind of an oldish game now.
Valkyrie Chronicles. What did you say?
Oh, there's two. Good. You're right. Valkyrie Profile, I think, was one of the first or second, but I do know there was a game called Valkyrie Chronicles, which I think is the same. Square Enix released it initially, or Squaresoft.
Oh, okay. That sounds like a Square Enix game.
It is literally all about being a Valkyrie, and was it they transport warriors from the dying and not to whichever.
Yes, the warriors who died heroically, full of valor.
This was the first game.
The transport to Valhalla or something.
That's right. This is the first game that did the whole square, triangle, circle, X being its own individual attack in regards to the team-based system.
Was there another game?
Yeah, this did it a long time before it. It was a lot harder and kind of more complex than the Valkyrie Profile games because you could lob off limbs and stuff like that of the bad guys you were killing in regards to attacks.
Not surprised. It felt too simple in this game.
It was, and I try so hard, but Metroidvania games just do not click with me. I tried, and this is a Metroidvania, one of those, was it like maps you can traverse, but then later on you get powers, which means you get to go back and traverse areas you couldn't go before.
I get what you mean. I feel the same way now. It used to click with me. I played a Castlevania game to death on my phone years ago. Now, the backtracking just feels tedious. I don't want to do that.
Because you feel like your gamer card, or whatever you want to call it, because everyone, you got to play Castlevania, so I played Castlevania. Oh, you got to play Metroid, because it's so great. I played Metroid. And I played so many of them, and not one of them has ever clicked. The whole premise of it, I love the stories, and I like the gameplay to some, but the whole premise of backtracking and getting your map and saying, oh, look, I haven't been into that bottom left-hand cornery bit. I wonder if my new power gets me there. And so you backtrack and kill the same baddies, and you get there, and you're like, nope, I need a different power for this bit.
I absolutely understand, because when I first got my Switch sometime in 2019, the first game I bought was Hollow Knight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's being lauded as the Metroidvania of all Metroidvanias.
Of course, yeah.
And I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I'm glad you
I know.
I know.
It's blasphemy for loads of gamers, but it's it's beautiful, but it's okay. It's fine. I really don't like all the backtracking.
I sin a little bit more than you because I've never played it.
Ooh,
and I
you're
don't.
right.
It is a very pretty game. I also have no real interest in playing it or Silk Song that's coming out one day by all accounts.
I mean, we'll
I've
try
watched
it.
someone because it's pretty on all accounts. Again, just that Metrovania has just not hit with me.
Yeah, if
This
you just
game
miss,
does it
if
and
you
probably
miss,
does it well.
if you miss one thing, like if you miss one crucial item, and you're just endlessly exploring that entire map for all the corners, God, that's not fun. That's not fun.
Agreed that gameplay doesn't work for me, but there's other aspects of this gameplay that was also, like you said, the fun of the combat starts off kind of like, okay, this is different, learn this, do that, okay, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and you do it again. You're like, oh God. I just want to skip the fights. Can they
You're
not?
right. Yep.
Can these fights not take like 30 to 40 seconds per
I felt
random...
the same way. I wasn't as sold on the combat in this game. Right? I've never played a game with a combat system like this.
No,
like,
that
what
makes
did you call it? Valkyrie
Profile kind of had the
Valkyrie Profile.
first, I think. Yeah.
I thought this was the only one with gameplay like this. I thought
I get that.
this is cool. This is new. This is innovative. I like this. But it's not even that deep.
No.
You just press the face button, and you either press it with up and down. That's it.
Again, it's a handful of things that didn't go that well. Boss fights, they're just sponges. Their health bar just goes on forever.
They try to spice that up by they give you a tiny bit of platforming.
I literally wrote that down. There's a bit of fun in regards to boss fights because it's turn-based, and then
you disengage,
and then a jump and a dodge, and then turn and you jump back into
and then back
helper.
into the combat. I wasn't as sold on the combat. I thought it was interesting, and they could have done a lot more, but they didn't.
Yeah, I know
excuse me. Yeah.
There's going to be a weird gripe, but when you beat like the underlings and then you get to the experience screen and you get 2, I know it's going to sound dumb, but I want like 400. I want 1,000 experience points. There's something just very mediocre from 2 and like 6.
There's a debate going on. There's an interesting video I watched on YouTube about the philosophy of small numbers. There's so many games that give you just these unnecessarily large numbers when you smack something. When you give something a backhand as Bayonetta, 2 million damage.
Right? I got what you mean, yeah.
And then if you take a look at something like Paper Mario, you jump on a Goomba, that's 3 damage.
Yeah, no, I know.
My brain can comprehend 3. It's small, sure, but I can comprehend 3. My brain cannot comprehend 4 million damage.
Do you ever heard of a game called I'm going to say this wrong again? Disgaea, or whatever it is.
Disgaea.
Is it Disgaea?
I don't know, but yes, I've heard of it.
The attacks into them get into the billions.
Oh,
it does it in the comical way, but you can get your units to do like 100 billion damage and stuff like that.
What does that even mean?
It does get kind of out of control when your numbers, and I do agree because even in Expedition 33 later on, some of the numbers you can deal, the damage is actually pretty up there. It's like 100,000 and stuff. So where is that line before it gets to just...
I don't know. I prefer the smaller numbers. It sounds like you've got some...
Oh no, I got too much
JRPG
in me. Yeah.
But
I
prefer the smaller numbers.
Okay,
I can comprehend. It's simple. I don't need to think too much.
It's funny just a gripe with me, and it is a silly gripe by all accounts. But gameplay-wise, it just gets a bit too... Like, the backtracking, the Castlevania, the combat, it gets a little too boring.
Well, you were just talking about the combat, and now you're lumping in exploration as well. Do you feel like the exploration is also tedious?
No, I guess that I'm lying there by all accounts, because I did like visually. It was always fun to find a new area and a new concept and a new weapon and stuff like that. So the exploration was quite fun.
Traversing. How did you feel about traversal?
I'm one of those people who, I don't play things like Meat Boy and Celeste and stuff like that because I get too frustrated at that pixel perfect jumping you got to do and
They
stuff like
feel
that.
like they want to give you a headache, and I'm not
Yeah,
about
and a
that
lot
life
of the
anymore.
and a lot of the platforming in this was doing that ever so slightly, but unnecessarily. It's not like you were going to find a super secret area that if you do this and then you get a super power up weapon, like whoa. But some of the things were just like, why are you making this weirdly complicated? This isn't challenging. This is just frustrating.
Yeah.
I just got bored. I got it just got boring, which is sad because this game's not bad, but it did just bore me in the end. I slowly, and like you said, it's a chunky ass game. This goes on for ages.
Yes,
So if you're not really
it
pulled
does.
through with excitement, it's hard to keep going.
It is. It is my opinion. It
Yes,
overstays its welcome a tad.
Yes, it just
And
needed
by
to
a
mix
tad, I
things
mean a
up
couple
little
of
bit more.
hours.
It just needed to mix. There was, like later on when you get a spear, you can now pole vault things, and that was probably like the most excitement I'd had in the game
That's
for like
fine.
2 hours.
That's fine. But maybe we could trim the fat.
There was
We
too
could
much
trim the
fat. And
fat. This platforming section, we can cut in half.
Yeah.
Nothing of value would have been lost. The
boss
pacing
fights could
would have been
last, be
better.
shorter. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly.
Right.
If you did that, it would have been the pacing would have been good.
Yes. If this game was 10 or 12 hours, it would have been so much better.
Exactly.
If they trimmed
It would
the
have been a good
fat.
time. Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's one of. It makes you
goodness,
wonder
24, 25
if during the
hours
development, it was like you say. It makes you wonder if during the development it was 12 hours, and they're like, no, we got to stretch it to 30, and they just went, add more alleys and more jump bits and longer health bars and more fluff.
Something I like to call bloat.
Yeah, it
At a
does feel
certain
bloaty.
point, at a certain point, it turns into bloat.
Yeah, it does. That's true.
Like what this game is doing. I don't like that it's not trimming the fat. The pacing isn't great.
Weird question. Out of nowhere, you just said bloat like 3 times, and I feel like there was a bad guy in something called Bloater. Any clue where that memory just came up?
Left 4 Dead 2.
Is it Left 4 Dead 2? Is that
It's Left 4 Dead 2, those big old fat guys. They're
Okay.
bloaters.
I was just thinking, wait a minute, I know that. What game reference is a bloater? Okay, thank you. Sorry, my mind was just wandering there.
Or you could be
Luckily,
thinking of a floating turd. A floater.
I was thinking about Last of Us 2. Was it Last of Us 2 or Left 4 Dead 2?
Left 4
I'm
Dead
lost.
2.
God damn it. Names. Stop putting 2s in things. But yeah, okay, yeah, Left 4 Dead 2. That was it. I luckily Nick's got all this names and knowledge. In his
Yeah, I
head,
got
whereas
this big
I
old vault in my noggin.
That's right, it really does. Okay, anything else gameplay?
No, I
wanted to
think
say?
I liked the audio more than I liked the gameplay, and I liked the visuals more than I liked the audio.
Yeah.
So the
that
gameplay is
sounds
not
about
the
right, same.
strongest part, and unfortunately is what you're going to be interacting with for the majority of this playthrough.
True.
But yeah, no, that's it for gameplay for me.
Did you get any performance issues?
I wouldn't call them issues per se. This game being an indie game, it's not that graphically intensive, even though it's stunning.
Yeah.
Nor does it really bog down your processing power.
Of course, no.
So it doesn't
simply-
take up out of your GPU or your CPU. I didn't encounter any bugs or glitches.
Mine's going to be a gripe again. This is just old man Dave. Just I play on the PC. If I use a controller, I generally use my PlayStation 5 controller, right? Because it's right next to me. It works, so I do. So I set it up with this game. Menu system, it's going up and down. Buttons are working fine. I'm thinking, great, this works. This is great. So I start it up. And then, it, I don't know, somewhere in the tutorial, it tells you to press X. And so on my controller, I'm pressing X, like, X, nothing's happening. X, nothing. I'm like, what the hell? X. So I start pressing all the other buttons. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if it's, what is it, triangle, or 0, or square, that works.
It's square.
And then I realize this is entirely mapped to the Xbox controller, right?
Nice.
And you have to go into the controls and manually input the buttons you want on the controller instead of it recognizing a PlayStation controller at all, or it just doing on its own.
Oh,
So
no.
for the first It's very strange for me. Again, granted, I'm an old man. When I let it go to start off with, but when something keeps telling you to press X and you go, oh crap, I pressed the normal X, not the X it was talking about. And then it says press Y. And I'm thinking, what the hell's a Y on an Xbox controller? I can't remember. It's either that one or that one. And that, granted, old man Dave was like, this is driving me mad. Again, slight. I'm not even sure if you could call this a performance issue. This is more just me getting triggered by things that I shouldn't be triggered by. But that was the only gripe I had.
I get it. It's not recognizing the controller that you're actually using. It's
Exactly.
it's just deciding controller.
Yes.
Must be Xbox.
Yeah, stupid game making me use Xbox stuff. Shouldn't do that.
No.
But
Anyway,
anyway, performance. What do you think of value for money then?
Value for money. Oh, in my notes, I got this whole spiel that you had at the start, right? This had an Indiegogo, and it succeeded in getting funding, even reached some stretch goals.
Yeah.
That's what I got down, but we already covered that.
It was too juicy for me not to dive
It's
straight in.
super juicy.
It was my favorite part.
It's very juicy.
It was my favorite part of the game, fundamentally. It's sad.
I had that down.
That
I didn't know a single thing about what the owner man did.
Yeah,
Sorry, the owner baby.
Again, it's a very sad story. Again, those things should never happen at a studio, and it seems to be a bit too prevalent in the video game atmosphere. But it was just, the ending was quite apt. I hope he kind of works as a barista somewhere now.
I hope he gets his just desserts, because he squandered just an entire studio's
it's so
people's
crazy.
worth of livelihoods.
Some other people's
futures.
dream, that is. Like,
Yes,
the idea that it was somebody
simply
else's
because he's
dream.
petty and spiteful, and I don't want to talk about him anymore.
Okay, value for money wise, this game goes, I saw it on Steam for like $10, Xbox for like $15, PlayStation Network for about $20.
Cheap. PlayStation should not be charging more than the others. Shame on you, Sony.
That is crazy.
But
I don't get that.
You know what? I'm gonna do something that you won't agree with, and I'd say I'd even pay $30 for this.
Whoa, I won't. Yes, I won't agree with that. It's very true. Well, okay, are we talking on release day or right now?
Ooh.
Like, how long's it been? It's been.
That's a difficult conversation, because that means that the value on release day and the value 5 years later is different.
Yes, of course, it should be. Nintendo doesn't do that, but I think other
No,
games should.
Nintendo doesn't think that their games age or the value diminishes over time. Do you think the value of video games diminishes over time? Do you think the original Final Fantasy VII is now less valuable than it was then in 1997?
No, but I think the competitive space of video games means you got to lower the price of your game if you want to keep it in the relevance of like the popular game sphere. Like,
I see.
I love Final Fantasy VII, the original, but it's like a 30-year-old game now. No one in their 20s isn't decidedly going to choose that unless they go, $5 game with 5 stars out of 5, I'll give that a go. And then fall. I think in a genre of a market that's very full, you've got to price your things competitively to keep your game afloat. But I do agree with the premise that, yes, there are games out there that I wish could keep their hefty price tag and everybody pays it and the developers continue. But in the competitive market, I think you have to lower the price of your games at some point. Especially
I get
as
it.
the years
I
go
get
on.
it, and I agree because of the society that we're in.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it just be great if games could hold the value that they...
Yeah, agreed. Now, this game...
I know. It's not... That's unrealistic. It's idealistic. Yeah. If we were in a utopia, sure, fine then.
It's one of those things, again. This game, as I said before, not really my type of jam. Metroidvanias aren't my type of jam. Would I pay $30 for it? No. But
I
then
think
again,
most
as we
people
always
won't.
point out, it's an opinion. It's if you told me...
What do you think is an appropriate amount?
It's so hard for the indie scene to price them, though. Because I want all the indie developers to get lots of money.
Right, it's got full voice acting. It's true. The art style is timeless.
Yeah, great.
Okay, 30, fine, maybe sure, stretch for most people. I think 20 is an extremely reasonable amount.
I think you're right. 20 is actually not that bad. Again, when you talk about what's actually in there for $20, yeah, you're right. I don't know
if it's your jam, right? If you like Metroidvanias, Saturday morning cartoons,
exactly. A quick 20 just to get. Like I said, it's like a 30-hour or so game to complete this game. This is a big game.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah, it's worth $20. Of course it is. It ain't my thing, but yeah, as a game as a whole, that is worth $20, $15, $10. It is. If
it's your thing, then yes, $20 is good.
I think I'm still reeling from the $80 game thing, and that I'm just very. I'm still even, like. So now
Outer Worlds 2 is $80. It's going to be $80.
And I've watched the new Mario Kart, and no, there isn't enough. There's not enough there that makes it worth the added $20 or $10 or wherever the hell.
No,
it's no different. There's one new mode. It's a knockout mode. Most racing games have that already. Sorry, I'm going to go on a rant. But anyway.
Yes, before we go on a rant, let's end off the episode.
Yeah, value for money wise,
it's
again, like we said, it's not bad. It's worth a go. You should fork out some money.
Absolutely.
I don't know where the money goes now. If the studio's defunct, does it go to 505?
I think it goes to 505, and
which is great.
Royalties go to. Oh, I don't even know.
I don't know, but at least 505. We like 505. They made some decent games. I hope they get their money.
Whoever owns the IP gets royalties, and 505 gets their initial investment and whatever they make on top of that. Okay. I don't know the business enough.
But the most important thing, Nick, is what did we score this game?
Yes, that is the most important thing about Indivisible. So our scores. Our scores lived in the little quaint village of Ashwat. I think is what the village...
I can't confirm or deny that. Is that what the quaint village is?
You know what? I'm going with Ashwat. Our scores lived in the village of Ashwat and did some training. Until one day it got attacked by the military of Lord Ravanavar. Unfortunately, almost every single one of our scores got slaughtered because they were defenseless at the time. They only had a little basket made of twigs. But one score made it out alive and is now set on revenge against Lord Ravanavar. And that score is the letter grade rating of C+.
That's not bad.
Which I think is the perfect score for this game.
That wasn't a bad story. I know it's the same story as the game, but I kind of want to see what the C+ did. And then the angry C+ coming back on Earth. I kind of like that premise then. I like that more. You telling me the story than I did playing the game itself.
Oh, really?
But C+ isn't bad. Strangely enough, it's the same score we gave Doom Dark Ages, which is a weird comparison.
Yes, I think Doom the Dark Ages deserved better. This, on the other hand, this seems
right. That's true. This
seems right. C+ Indivisible. This seems right. It's
and
not a JRPG. It's hardly even an RPG.
Agreed. It isn't. It's I give you. It's got the turn-based thing, which everybody equates to JRPGs and RPGs, but this isn't. This is a Metroidvania, a castle.
Yeah, this is a turn-based Metroidvania. RPG means role-playing game. What? No, you're just Ajna on a quest.
That's such a broad spectrum, though. Every game's an RPG. Then, sorry, I'm going down a rant again. Yeah, C+ is good. If you like those types of games, this game would be for you. I don't see that you'd have a good time. This is one that we could say go for it. Pull the trigger, so to speak.
Do it. And thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Critical Arcade Podcast. Subscribe, leave a review, leave a comment. Tell your friends, your parents, whatever. Just spread the word of the good Critical Arcade in your community.
Nice.
Thank you. And subscribe to us on YouTube. I'll say it again. Dave, where can we follow you?
Well, I am out and about, but during the proceeds of this game, when I did hear that being a big dong noise that seemed to assault Nick's eardrums, I managed to be able to departmentalize my brain and just suck people into it and keep them trapped there for all time, just like this game. So, if you do come to me, I can trap you in my mind. And let me just point out, no one wants to be in my mind. There's either nothing going on up there or just anarchy going on up there. So by all accounts, follow me, but I will lock you into my mind palace, I
No,
suppose
thank
would
you.
be the
No,
the
thank you.
premise.
That sucks. I do not want to be locked up in Dave's mind.
No, you really don't. It's so dark in there, I tell you.
But there's one thing I'd like to know in your mind.
Go on,
What have
what's
we
that?
got lined up for next week?
Oh, next week. This seems to be quite common on the online space now, but I'm looking forward to it because it's set in a world that we both enjoy to some degree.
Hell
This
yeah.
is
Hell
F-
yeah.
What FBC Firebreak? What does FBC stand
FBC
for?
Firebreak. FBC Firebreak.
What does FBC stand for? Do you know?
The Federal Bureau of Control.
Ah, there we go. There's that remedy
Yes.
spice just whacked in there now. Now I see it.
Oh, I need myself some remedy.
And this
Earlier
is
this
a-
year,
Go on.
oof, okay, I finished Alan Wake for the first time. I'm
he hasn't
hooked.
played Alan Wake 2
I'm hooked, man. I absolutely need some more remedy.
And the premise of this game is that you play a cleanup crew that has to clean up the extraterrestrial, like, interdimensional, like, voodoo stuff, whilst
Correct.
also battling the things that you're kind of cleaning up after, right? Like it's
Correct.
a survival cleaning game, so to speak.
Correct.
With some wackiness that is Remedy and all the weird things they chuck into things. So it's kind of a fun idea. I look forward to giving it a go. I think a lot of people
Yes,
have
it's
got
a
it on
good
their wish
game.
list.
Sense not included.
Yeah, that's it. I hope it's good. We got so many online games that have been
Yeah,
falling
I think it's
down,
going to be
so-
another solid, all right game.
Yeah,
that's going to
same,
be for
same.
some people. I don't think it's going to be this breakout hit like Helldivers.
No, same. I don't think they all need to be, right? I think
No,
there's
they
money
don't.
in
They
like an
don't.
okay online game. I really think
That's
there could be
completely
tons of catch
fine. I'm just not. I don't like the idea yet that single player studios feel like they need
there.
an
Yeah,
online multiplayer.
online components. Yeah,
Yeah.
that rubs me a bit the wrong way too.
Yeah, the
but
multiplayer is
yeah,
not
that's-
Remedy's strong suit, but they're gonna try
Oh, well,
anyway to make a multiplayer game. I mean, if they have to.
It looks fun. It looks zany. It could be a blast. Listen in next
You're
week
right,
to see if
you're
it
right.
is.
Yes. And we'll see you then. Cheers.
Cheers.